rightly so.
No, he's not. Not that you jinxed him, because of course this was predetermined moments ago, but he won't finish the game.
Unbelievable. But of course, given the situation that Pirates are in the lead and the game looks that easy, and players like Rasabocha, it's good for them to get a little bit of game time. He played against Makesi. Things didn't quite work out, not because of his own individual mistake, but just as a team, Pirates didn't arrive at the Orlando Stadium.
But for Kota, since making his first start, it's 3 starts in succession now, and he will be angling to be in the team again in a week's time against the Natal Ridge boys. Will be a wounded animal after their defeat this evening. Given away cheaply, Kabini. Oh, he's going to end up on the losing side, but Kabini's put in a strong showing. Oh, now
Penalty.
No, won't be a penalty. Yellow card for a man who's already been booked, and Sibilibili gets his second yellow. His first was a silly one, and now he has been dismissed.
Why would he do this? I mean, at such a stage where I thought he even had a chance to maybe run into the ball, he decided to. I would like to see this. But he's not even complaining. He knows exactly what he did. Just as well that the ref was close by. I'm telling you, you'll have sold many.
Sibilibili dismissed. This is a game that has produced red cards previously. This one won't be of any particular consequence, though, simply because they would feel the game is done and dusted. Oh, it's a horrific miscue from Sabisi, and a corner to come. Second meeting between these two sides, second ever meeting, by the way. First season that TS Galaxy were in the top flight. A 1-0 win for Galaxy. Fatlongo scoring early in that one was a game in which Ebo Mabasa for Pirates and Gibbon Simango for TS Galaxy were both sent off. Both in the first half. Sibilibili's dismissal comes late on, just like those of Zamovic and Letswalo, who will be back for their upcoming meeting with Magesi in the Cup. As Orlando Pirates seek desperately to defend that clean sheet. Well, if Sipo Chain was angry after they conceded against Amazulu, can you imagine if they ship one against 10 men TS Galaxy and he loses out on another clean sheet? Do the standards that your goalkeeper holds you to as a defender, do they sometimes matter? Do you up your game simply because the man standing behind you holds you to such high standards?
Listen, I don't know these defenders of later days, but any defender that is sound and knows, takes his responsibility seriously, will respect the call from behind.
Oh, Gilberto does well. Now what can they make of this? Slip through here for Mabasa. Now he goes down, clutching his ankle, suggesting that perhaps he was interfered with, which is why the ball squirted away from him.
He's remained down.
He has. Well, there's a lovely ball played into him by Rasabosha. Now, the gesture to the touchline is that Mabasa needs a stretcher.
It's a beautiful pass to start with, and he's made the run. But first of all, it happens outside. Yes, it rolls into the inside, so it wouldn't have been a penalty even if it had been adjudged to be a foul.
But it is a foul. De Giza gets under the ball, and he certainly clipped the ankle of Mabasa. Well, will he come back on before the additional minutes elapse?
Doesn't look like. Maybe a little bit of additional time because of that break. Otherwise, the 4 minutes added has come and gone.
Final moments here in Bombela Stadium. Job well done by the Buccaneers as they continue to pick up 3 points in the Betway Premiership. There is the final whistle. The Buccaneers under Jose Ribeiro continue to rewrite Orlando Pirates history. They did it in the top 8 competition, earning their 3rd successive title. And now, for the first time in 22 years, they start the league season with half a dozen victories. And they open up a 6-point gap at the summit. And they put the pressure now on Mamelodi Sundowns to respond against one of their bogey teams, Cape Town City, tomorrow. William Shongwe.
Indeed, I think it's a wonderful performance. Yes, they didn't score that many goals, but let me tell you, the fact that they were not able to concede, it's a big achievement. I mean, China will know what it means for a goalkeeper. And I'm sure the coach as well. Yes, sometimes the team is not threatening as much, but you find that lapses of concentration.
Savings on all your weekly staples.
Clinical defensively, Orlando Pirates were this evening.
2 unanswered goals. Orlando Pirates score both from outside the area. Zalenta Mbata from range with an absolute ripper, aided by a deflection. And then a strike from Relit Mufokeng that didn't need any assistance. Postage stamped. Brilliantly accurate bullseye from the 20-year-olds to make sure that Orlando Pirates depart Bombela with all 3 points. 18 points from 18 available to start the Betway Premiership season. Traditionally, they've struggled in the early stages of the campaign and then fruitlessly playing catch-up. But this time, it is Orlando Pirates that are the pace setters. Well, after years of heartache, some of these Buccaneers fans won't quite believe what they're seeing. It appears a return to the glory days that have been so sorely missed. Pirates are the pace setters, 2-0 winners on their travels, and they are submitted.
Live on TalkSport and TalkSport 2. On DAB+, online, via the TalkSport app and on your smart speaker.
Live football coverage that's beyond compare.
A quite fabulous goal.
The League Cup live on TalkSport 2.
Welcome to St Mary's for Cup football under the lights on TalkSport 2. There's a place in the Carabao Cup quarter-final at stake for both Southampton and Stoke, and the Saints boss Russell Martin is feeling the pressure. 3-0 before half-time to Bournemouth, and the Cherries are crushing Southampton.
It's hard not to like him, but it's just the frustration of thinking, how long can it go on?
But you want to see a manager like him do well, because he wants to play a certain way. Okay, he might need to.
বাবা কোথায় যাচ্ছেন?
কাছের ফার্মেসি থেকে প্রেসারটা একটু চেক করে আসি।
আমি
They're down. I can't make a case for them staying up in this league. I simply can't.
Southampton are crestfallen. Half an hour ago, they had this game won. No way they could lose. 2-0 up and absolutely bossing it.
I think, it's the most important game we've had this season. We need to try and win, get to a quarter-final of a cup, and we need to build on today. We'll play the strongest team available to us.
Trying to get players back. Archer goes for goal. He scored! Cameron Archer gives Southampton an unlikely lead. Applause from Russell Martin.
Could they turn the tide? Could they come up with a spectacular comeback? The Carabao Cup delivering yet again.
Well, Southampton will hope it delivers for them tonight. Good evening from Joe Shannon here at St Mary's. It is Cup football under the floodlights. It's the fourth round of the Carabao Cup as Southampton, bottom of the Premier League, take on 19th in the Championship, Stoke City. Both sides have had good memories of this competition in the past. Southampton twice runners-up in the League Cup, most recently in 2017, while Stoke City's only major trophy came in 1972 when they lifted the League Cup. Perry Groves, former Southampton winger and League Cup winner with Arsenal in the 1987 final, is alongside me for commentary tonight. Perry, very good evening to you.
Evening, Joe. You good?
I'm very well.
Good.
Special memories for you in this competition when you think back to that great Arsenal side of the late 80s?
Yeah, I think obviously it's not a lot of clubs' priority at the moment now, the Carabao Cup. But when I was playing, because the English teams were banned from Europe, there was only 3 competitions you could win, which would be the League Cup, the FA Cup, and obviously the old First Division. So back in the day, the League Cup was still a massive trophy, and I still think football was about winning. I still think it's about trophies. Obviously you're going to go through the teams in a minute, and I'm surprised Russell Martin's gone a bit sort of half and half, Joe, isn't he, with his selection, but Narcis Pelak, the Stoke manager, has made sweeping changes, which has really surprised me.
And that seems to be a theme for the Championship sides in the Carabao Cup this season. Let's start with the Southampton team. 6 changes from the side beaten at Manchester City at the weekend. Ramsdale keeps his place in goal. Sugawara in at right back. Harwood Bellis and Bednarek remain at centre-half. Bree comes in at left-back. Ogachukwu, Fernandes and Aribo in midfield. Fernandes the only man to keep his place in the middle of the park. Adam Armstrong and Fraser come in. Cameron Archer keeps his place up front. On Southampton, first of all, Perry, that's a pretty strong team. Suggests to me that Russell Martin feels he really needs a win tonight.
Yeah, very much so. If you look at, obviously, Cameron Archer keeping his place up front. He hit the bar against Man City at the Etihad. Bang on half-time. That could have had a massive effect on the game. It would have been 1-1. And we'd have seen if Pep Guardiola was going to wax lyrical after the game if he hadn't won 1-0. There was a bit of a vanity project going on there between the two managers. So Aaron Ramsdale in goal as well. So a lot depends on the goalkeeper here at Southampton, because he's the one who starts their passing moves. He's the one whose distribution has to be really on point, which it was a bit on and off on Saturday up at the Etihad. So if you're Stoke, and again you're the manager, Narcis Pelak of Stoke, you'll be saying, right, we've got to go and put Ramsdale under pressure. the two centre halves will split, Harwood-Bellis and Bednarek, and then the full-backs will push on, Brie on one side, Suguar on the other to give them the width. So I can see this, Joe, actually being a real open game. I can see, obviously it's not a particularly massive crowd here at St Mary's this evening, so it might be that the players don't feel as much pressure as what they do in obviously the Premier League or the Championship.
No, you're absolutely right, Perry Groves. It's quiet here at St Mary's. Of the 4 stands, only 3 are open. The stand on the opposite side to us, the Kingsland stand, the West stand is closed, but for the very corner of that stand, the southwest corner, which is where the away supporters are located. It's pretty sparsely populated though overall. Looking around, you'd say maybe there are 10 to 15,000 here tonight, but no more than that. Let's bring you the Stoke City team. 8 changes from the weekend defeat at Sheffield United, so the only 3 to keep their places are the fullback Shemedu, the centre-half Phillips and Tom Cannon up front. Among the Stoke starters, 2 17-year-olds, Jaden Dixon and Sol Sidibe. There's a first start for the club for Tatsuki Seko in midfield. So Bonham in goal, Shemedu, Dixon, Rose, Phillips and Bocat in a 5-man defence. Thompson, Seko and Sidibe in midfield. Vidigal and Cannon up front. I mean, Perry, you can understand Narcís Pelak, Stoker embroiled at this moment in a relegation battle. He's only recently joined the club. He's only picked up 1 win since joining the club. But how disappointing is it for the Carabao Cup as a whole that a Championship side away at a Premier League club, the prospects of the quarter-finals, and they make 8 changes? Yeah,
if I was a player, I'd be wanting to play, because you said there the team's not in particularly great form. Individually, this Stoke side aren't in very good form either. So if you just look at Pelak since he's taken over, he said he's had 7 matches, 1 win, drawn 3, lost 3. And the last 4 away games, Stoke City haven't scored a goal, and 3 of those have been under Pelak. So they're looking for a bit of creativity. You know, they need a bit more clinicalness in the 18-yard box. So Vidigal's come in, he'll play up front with Tom Cannon. We think it's going to be a 5-3-2 formation. So the width will come from Bocat on the left-hand side for Stoke and Shemedu on the right-hand side. I'm interested to see him play as well, Joe, because obviously he's an ex-Colchester United product from your
old parish.
Exactly, from the academy there. It's a very strong academy. So every time you do games in the Championship and even going obviously into Premier League, there's a smattering of ex-Colchester United players. So and Shemedu is very, very quick. He's very sharp off the first sort of 10-15 yards. He's got decent technique. But this is the Stoke City. They're in, I was going to say decline, but it's not declining. They're just, at the moment, they're in a rut. Do you know what I mean? They can't get out of, obviously we've known them from being in the Premier League under Tony Pulis and causing people problems. Now it just seems like the whole club, from top to bottom, is just in a bit of a malaise.
It's constant revolution, isn't it, for Stoke City, Perry? Every 6 months to a year or so, there's a change of manager, a change of style. They want to bring in their own players as well. How do they get out of the rut that you're talking about? Are you convinced that Narcís Pelak is the right man going forward?
Well, I think he's got to stamp his authority, obviously, on the team. We've got a lot of young players in here tonight as well, so they'll take on board his instructions probably a lot more willingly. So under like Tony Pulis, when Stoke were in the Premier League and obviously then they got relegated, Nathan Jones went in, and I think it was too big a job for him. There was a lot of players there that were on more money than Nathan Jones, and he tried to implement his ideas and philosophies and they weren't having it, and I think the rot set in from there. So I think they need, you said there, they need evolution, Joe, rather than revolution. You know, they need a manager to come in, just calm everybody down. If you look at Stoke at the moment, they're only 1 point outside the relegation zone, so they need to put a nice little run together.
The competition, they are Wednesday night if the scoreline is. Meanwhile, Southampton got to this stage thanks to victory over Cardiff City in round 2 and a shootout win against fellow Premier League side Everton last time out. The draw for the quarter-finals will take place after the conclusion of Tottenham Hotspur against Manchester City tomorrow. Former England and Liverpool midfielder Jamie Redknapp and former England and Manchester City player Izzy Christiansen will be conducting proceedings with presenter Mark Chapman. The ball numbers for the draw will be finalised tomorrow morning, and the ties will take place the week commencing the 17th of December. So it will be really interesting to see who is in the hat from this tie. Around 900 fans have travelled from Stoke City tonight to be here at St Mary's. The Carabao Cup returns, and now this competition is starting to get really serious. A place in the quarter-finals is up for grabs, and there will be plenty on the team sheets trying to make their respective managers sit up and take note ahead of the weekend's return to league action too, with changes aplenty in both lineups tonight. I'm David Stowell, alongside FA Cup winner David Phillips in the box tonight. So you've had cup glory in the past. What are you expecting from these two sides as they edge towards the next step on their journey to perhaps a shot at silverware in the end?
Well, it's a great opportunity for both sides, but I think when you look at what's happening in the league for, on both areas, they are struggling and they both need a result tonight. We know that Russell Martin in his press conference has said this is the biggest game that Southampton have had this season. I totally agree with him, because they desperately need a result. They've not done anything in the Premier League as such. They've just got the 1 point, which they had against Ipswich Town. And since Narcis Palacio has come into the managerialship for Stoke City, things have not gone particularly well. You talk about this honeymoon period where you think that everything is all going to be hunky-dory and change, etc. It really hasn't materialised. They're lying 19th at this moment in time. They're only 1 point above Luton Town, who are in the drop zone. So they will be looking for a result tonight, not only just to get into the next round of the Cup, but in respect of Stoke City, Derby at home, Blackburn away, two tough fixtures. So it's going to be one of those tonight that both sides, it's going to be an open game, I believe, and let's see what happens. Let's hope there's lots of goals.
Indeed, it will be fascinating to see what happens, and the team sheets make very interesting reading. We'll go through those with you in a moment, but as I mentioned, multiple changes for both sides tonight from the weekend's league matches. And here come the protagonists. Two teams stride out into the South Coast evening, glad perhaps to have stepped away from league pressures and to continue their positive cup journey. There have been plenty of negative vibes surrounding these two sides in recent weeks, but this competition has provided an escape up to this point, and tonight it provides a route to a potential quarter-final spot. And who knows, maybe ultimately a shot at silverware. So who fancies a spot in the last 8? It would come as a much-needed boost on either side of the fence. And so, to the team news. Both managers have rung the changes tonight. Southampton boss Russell Martin has made half a dozen alterations from Saturday's Etihad starting lineup. Former Stoke City loanee Taylor Harwood-Bellis is one of those to remain in the team. He played 24 times for the Potters in the Championship a couple of seasons back. Elsewhere, Ryan Fraser returns from a ban after his red card against Leicester City. Adam Armstrong joins Cameron Archer in attack. Archer scored 6 goals in 6 career League Cup appearances. And Stoke-born Ben Burton Diaz is on the bench. Narcis Palacio rips up the team sheet from the weekend defeat against Sheffield United, making 8 changes. Only Junior Chamadou, Ash Phillips and Tom Cannon remain. They're a first start of the season for Jack Bonham, Tatsuki Seko and Andre Vidigal. 17-year-old Sol Sidibe and Jayden Dixon continue their records of starting every EFL Cup tie this season. Liverpool loanee Lewis Koumas is amongst those dropping to the bench. He scored on his only senior appearance for the Merseysiders in an FA Cup victory against Southampton in February. And 16-year-old Lawrence Gianni is named in a matchday squad for the very first time. And so we turn our attention to players who might make the difference tonight, David, and you've picked out a couple of front men who might fire their side to victory.
Well, I think it's very important that these two front men are going to fire tonight, and the first one is Karen Archer, who at this moment in time is in good form. He scored 4 goals so far this season, 2 in the EFL against Cardiff City. We know what a prolific goal scorer he is, we know how quick and assertive he is, and I'm sure that he'll be looking to try and get behind the back unit of Stoke as often as possible, but he will be a threat, especially for the youngster Jayden Dixon, 17 years of age, but I quite like Jayden Dixon and the way he's gone about his business, especially in the EFL. Tom Cannon, well, what can you say about Tom Cannon? Scored those 4 goals against Portsmouth, yet to score any other game. But he is a player, he has that physicality. Again, he likes to get himself into the box. He'll rough up the centre-halves of Harwood Bellis and Jan Bednarak, and he will make it as difficult as possible. So he needs to get himself back onto the scoring system, and I'm sure that given an opportunity, he will do.
And our referee tonight is Lewis Smith. It's his 15th game of the season across the Championship, League One, the EFL Cup, and on Saturday just gone, he took charge of his 4th Premier League game, which was lively, finishing Brentford 4, Ipswich 3, with Town's Harry Clark given his marching orders. Well, the only previous League Cup meeting between these two sides was in 2014 at this stage of the competition. Southampton ran out winners by 3 goals to 2 under Ronald Koeman, knocking out Mark Hughes' Potters to reach the last 8 of the League Cup for the first time in 10 years. Graziano Pella scored a beauty for the Saints. Shane Long struck his first Southampton goal after his move from Hull City. Stephen Nzonzi reduced the arrears.
Into the last 6 games that both of these sides have played, because there's only been 6 goals between them. But as I mentioned before, I reckon that the front unit of Southampton will be causing a lot of problems for Stoke at the back. Not quite sure whether it's going to be a 4-4-2 or a 4-3-3, but certainly when you have the pace of Armstrong, Archer and Fraser, they will cause problems to most sides.
Well, the early minutes will tell us plenty about how these two sides are shaping up in terms of form on the night, and indeed confidence as well, which is a big part of the game, of course. Harwood Bellis on to Bednarek, and James Bree, one of those involved as well tonight from the start for Southampton.
Yeah, it looks very much that Adam Armstrong goes to the right, Archer goes through the middle, Fraser on the left, and sometimes you'll find Aribo going in between the 2 lines.
Sugawara moving it on to Ugochukwu. One for Sugawara to chase. He's always a willing runner, but he was just escaping from him on that occasion.
Yeah, he's a player I quite like, Sugawara, since he's come into the Premier League. I know it's been more difficult. Walker Peters has come in as the right back just recently. There's the Stoke manager. As I said, he just went through that little bit of a honeymoon period where I think, well, are things going to change? Are things going to start developing for him? Unfortunately, they haven't.
Yeah, Enda Stevens said after the weekend game that working under Narcis Perak has been brilliant. And although the Spaniard has only guided them to 1 victory in 7 games in charge, Stevens has been talking about the fact that they're building a structure, a way of playing, and trying to alter the psyche at Stoke, if you like, which is going to take a bit of time.
And that's always going to be the case, is whether or not he's given that time as well. I think it's very important, as long as they keep away from the relegation zone. Why not? And I don't know about yourself, David, but I look at managers now and they're getting younger and younger. He's now, what, 36 years of age? Russell Martin, 38. That's great for football.
A little bit depressing, though, when you look at the ages and the stats and things.
It is, especially when you've got 2 17-year-olds as well playing for Stoke. 2 very good players as well, by the way, as you're right to say. They've started all 3 games for Stoke in the EFL, and they must be highly thought of, otherwise they wouldn't be starting.
Here is Armstrong. Eric Boca just behind him. Armstrong looking to move Southampton in a positive direction. Matheus Fernandes moves it on. And it's watched all the way by Ashley Phillips. Aribo. Plenty forward for Southampton here, but so many behind the ball for Stoke City in their black away kit tonight. Southampton looking to move them around. Ugachukwu on loan from Chelsea. Powerful runner. Looking for the end product towards Cameron Archer. He does enjoy playing in this competition. 6 goals in 6 appearances, including a hat-trick in Aston Villa colours a few years back against Barrow.
I think the way that Aribo is playing, he's playing in between the centre-half, Jaden Dixon, and Bocat as well. And Bocat's going to have to be very, very careful. At times, he's getting himself a little bit too close to his left centre-half and allowing Adam Armstrong a lot of acres over on the far post.
First collection of the night for Jack Bonham. His first appearance of the season. The last time he played for Stoke City was in the Championship at home against Coventry City back in February. Victor Johansson has been the standout man with the gloves, of course, at Stoke City. I know a player who's caught your eye over the years.
Oh, yeah, I've been really impressed with him, especially recently as well. We talk about the game when they played against Fleetwood, where they went through 2-1 on penalties. He saved 3 of those, put somebody off as well, which went high and wide. And to be honest with you, he has made some really, really important saves of recent. And without them, who knows what would have